What's up guys, Lockie here, and if you're in the high ticket sales space, you're gonna love this video because recently I did a Q&A meeting in a community run by my boy Kashi. Kashi used to be a sales rep on Scale Smart. Their offer I scaled to $1 million a month. Amazing young man. He's now an awesome sales coach and training a group of young sales reps who are new in the industry to quit their jobs and crush it in high ticket sales. And I was fortunate enough to come in and answer some questions that all those really amazing young ambitious people had for me. So this is a video. I'm just going to give you the recording live here. Massive shout out to everyone who was on that meeting. Thank you so much for giving me the time and the space to share some of my thoughts and having so many amazing questions. Can't wait to see you guys win. And if you're new in the sales space, grab a pen and a pad because there's heaps of sauce over this about 1.5 to 2 hour session. So dial in, let's crush it.
Let's cook. So on this call, we're gonna run things slightly differently. So Lockie, usually how we run these calls is we do a bit of a Q&A at the start for myself, and we just really call recordings and call reviews and go from there. What we're gonna do this time is I'm gonna first introduce you, and I want you to do a little bit of intro about yourself, I guess your journey, because I think a lot of people are gonna learn a lot of things about your journey, especially at the amount of time that you've been in the industry. So I'd love to throw it over to you, bro. Can you do a quick intro for us, I guess, on your journey?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, Kashi, he's set up over there in a cave somewhere in India, so his internet is a bit trash, but we can still hear it. But yeah, he's a bit laggy for everyone. Yeah, I mean, first of all, really excited to meet all you guys. I'm not sure how much Kashi's hyped this up, so I'm hoping I can do it justice. A bit of backstory on me, just so I have a little bit of context. Does anyone kind of know my backstory? Raise their hands. Does anyone know a little bit about my shit, just so I can, okay. I'll glance through it so we can spend some time focused on you guys. So I got a job cold calling. I come from a family that had very little money. So my parents couldn't pay their rent. So like probably many of us, I started Googling how to make money online. And I came across starting an agency. And I remember like Mark Cuban or something said like, you need to learn how to sell. Like, I can fucking sell it, ice to Eskimos, some shit like that. And I was like, all right, I guess I should sell. And I had to Google what the word sell meant. And I came across some YouTube videos of people doing like cold calls. And I was like, ooh, do I really want to make money? Like, how bad do I really want to make money? Am I willing to do cold calls? So anyway, I was like, you know, after a few weeks of procrastinating and pretending that my logo was important for my website, I made a couple cold calls from the basement in my parents' house. Hated it, felt sick to my stomach doing it. So I said, you know what, I'm gonna get a job cold calling. So I have to become successful at sales or else I'm gonna get fired. Then I won't have money to help my parents with rent. So I got a job cold calling for the Yellow Pages in Australia, which was like technically the biggest digital marketing agency because they're doing digital ads and shit like that. And for a year and a half, at the age of 18, I made cold calls. In a year and a half, I made 58,000 cold calls. I went from knowing nothing about sales to becoming the best in the company in about 60 days. And then I got burnt out, hated that. And I said, fuck, this sucks. I was trying drop shipping and stuff on the side to launch my own business. And I then, Tristan, you got a thumbs down, Trin, you got a thumbs down, man. What are you hating on me for? 58,000.
I don't even know what happened. I don't even know what happened. You just did that.
I'm gonna earn that thumbs up by the end of this meeting. I hope so. So yeah, anyway, I got a job at a digital marketing agency because I wanted to learn the marketing side because I was trying drop shipping businesses. So I'm like, let me try and learn, like get paid to learn how to run ads so my drop shipping store can be successful. So I joined a company and I got mentored by the founder of the agency over the next year and a half, learned how to run paid ads. Then I launched my own digital marketing agency. So at the age of like, I think I just turned 20. I left like the 9-to-5 life, like for real, and started my own agency. We got to 40,000 a month in recurring in like the first 30 to 90 days. Can't remember exactly what it was. This was a long time ago now. I'm 27 now for context. Scaled that, ran that for like 5 years. Then COVID hit in Melbourne. Our agency was based in Melbourne. We had the longest shutdowns in the world. For anyone who doesn't know that. So we lost our agency overnight because 80% of our clients were based in Melbourne. They literally couldn't even function their business. So I was like, fuck, how do we make money here? Well, I built an agency Let me teach other people how to build their agencies in parts of the world that aren't shut down like Melbourne. So we launched Scale Smart, which was our high ticket BizOp product. And we sold teaching people how to start their own agency in America. I scaled it first through an automated webinar, found out that people who don't pay a lot of money are absolute pain in the asses to deal with. So then we relaunched it through a high ticket sales call funnel and scaled that from $0 to $1 million a month cash collected in 16 months, which Kashi was an integral part of making happen. Haven't got, got heaps of amazing things to say about Kashi. And then I exited that business not too recently, moved to Koh Samui, and now I sip coconuts and give advice to other people scaling their info business. That's it.
100%, bro. I feel like you're one of the few people that actually stuck through with one thing for a long period of time. And honestly, kudos to you for actually sticking at it. But for somebody that didn't catch that, Lockie's been in the space since when he started telling that story for a decade. A decade. Now, a lot of you will listen to this and be like, bro, 10 years. That's a long time, because it is, right? And that's why Locke is really, really good at what he does. And that's why I brought him on this call to really like change your perspective and really bring that long-term thinking into play, because that's what's needed to actually win. So let's who has questions for me, or especially Lockie, on sales, on mindset, on his journey, or self-development? Let's cook. Bench.
Hey, Lockie, long time no see, mate.
Is that an advantage? You got hair now.
Yeah, I have hair now. I'm not.
Look at this killer, hey? Got the hair, got the button-up shirt. Man, this guy's maxing out his Tinder stats. Good to see, bro.
Luke's maxing. Now it's good to see you again, bro. Hope you've been well and hope you've been crushing it. I had a couple of quick questions. I know you've obviously been in the game for like 10 years now, but I guess from like a mindset and principles point of view to revisit and revise everything, like what's the number one trait or characteristic you possess from a mindset view that helped you endure the longevity of business, to be able to crush in business? And also from a skills point of view, from a sales view in terms of closing now, because I'm closing now, what's like the most important trait that you feel like you've got to possess on the closing calls to go out there and crush it with any archetype, to crush it with any sort of prospect you come across?
Phenomenal questions. Phenomenal questions. I have the memory of a goldfish, so let's take it one at a time. The first question was, what was the first question? Sorry, you see, I have a goldfish.
Yeah. The first question was in regards to just what's like the one mindset, principle, trait, characteristic, anything that's helped you endure the longevity business? Because obviously you've come a long way. It's 10 years.
Okay, yeah, this is a funny one. So I'll try and give you guys some good saucy, that's, not the same shit that everyone says, because there are some shit that everyone says that is actually true. What's like the principle, the thing that helped me endure for such a long piece of time? Being a total fucking moron and having no idea how hard it was going to be and how long it was going to take. So one of the big reasons that everyone fails, especially young guys and young women like us, is they think it's going to happen quickly. And so you have this expectation that you're not going to have to put in that much work and it's going to happen in the next 90 days. And so when it then doesn't happen, it's incredibly painful. So I wish, sure, I've got discipline. Sure, I'm now patient. But like the real of why I've been in this game for so long is because I consistently think that it's going to be easy and it's going to happen fast. And then it doesn't happen. I'm like, well, fuck, I'm already this deep into it. I'm not going to quit. It's probably just going to be another 3 months. And then I would have made it. And then 3 months later, it's like, oh, geez, I still haven't made it yet. Maybe even another 3 months, we'll have made it. And then you wake up, you're 10 years in, and you've actually figured some shit out. Discipline, patience, sure, that stuff helps, but that's the real answer. Second question. The principle to be successful at closing, was it?
Just basically in sales calls and navigating yourself with like any archetypes you come across. Because right now I'm struggling with sophisticated buyers as one example. But it's just obviously going from like a process of just going on scripts to just frameworks and principles you can abide by to basically close anyone that you can.
Okay, this is some good advice, just generally speaking, to help you develop in your personal life. I'm going to throw this one out there for the guys. Guys, I'm sure you've probably met someone, a friend or someone else in your life who's a guy and they're very good with women. Okay? And you look at them and you're like, man, that guy doesn't give a fuck what he says. He's saying the craziest shit, the most random fucking people. It's like he has no social shame, right? And the frame you have to have when you get on a closing call that makes you very influential is within reason, you need to be respectful. You don't give a shit about what the prospect thinks of you. you can't lose any of your self-esteem, your self-worth, your self-image if that person says no. I could get on a closing call with someone and tells me to go fuck myself. I'm a scam artist. I've got the shittest product and I don't know how to run a sales call. I'll laugh and then move on to the next call because I know who I am. And sure, I care about what people think of me within reason. But if someone says something negative or rejects me or questions me or challenges me, not even by 1% will it ever scratch my self esteem. So I can be 100% authentically myself. I can tell people what they need to do. And if they don't listen to me, I just don't care. I just couldn't give a shit. So I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. So especially when you're dealing with a sophisticated buyer, there are other things like having sharp questions, not rambling, making sense when you say something. Those things matter as well. But from a mindset perspective, when you speak with a sophisticated buyer, you need to realize that you have what they want. And if you don't have it, you at least have the ability to give them access to what they want, if it's a course or something, right? And without you, they're fucked. And if they don't buy, it's not going to influence your success over the long term in any way, shape, or form. And so you just do whatever you want to do, man. And if they comply, they comply. If they don't, who cares? And then if you act that way over 100 calls, you'll be much more successful. Does that make sense?
You bet it does. It reminds me of Breakfast Club. Appreciate it, bro.
Nice one. Nice one. Kashi, I'll just let you just do the order and shit.
And I'll answer this question in a second, bro. But to add on to that, like a really quick way to apply what Lockie just said, how to face rejection, how to like not let things affect you is the amount of reps that you do. When you're starting off and you're getting into space like Lockie did, which is most likely cold calling cold leads, facing rejection probably every 30 seconds or so. Dude,
yeah, like 100 times a day.
Yeah, I mean, you can talk about that story for ages, right? But you have pretty thick skin and nothing really starts getting to you. That's why I tell all of you, it's like at the start, even if your offer isn't amazing, which most likely it won't be, just the fact that you're getting reps and dealing with rejections is like a win in itself. So that's a way to like apply what Lockie just told you. Ease. Anna.
Hi, I'm sorry if you guys, my internet is shit because I'm in India as well, just like Kashi. Apologies in advance, Lockie.
That's okay. Nice to meet you.
But I just have a really quick question because I want to go into the business field as well. And I just want to ask, what's something you don't enjoy about the business that usually people would tell beginners and assume it's the most exciting bit, apart from the money, of course?
Nice to meet you. That's a very good question. Also, just quick side tangent. Shout out to all you guys being here. There's heaps of other young people, men and women watching Netflix right now, going and partying, all that shit. You guys have showed up here to improve yourself. So let's give everyone a round of applause. Good shit, guys, for coming. This is really awesome. Love to be here. So the question was, let me activate my goldfish memory. What's something about business that everyone says is sick that sucks? Is that right, Anna?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It basically wraps it up.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, sales sucks. Ironically, I got a job cold calling because I hated sales. I'm like, I'm gonna get a job cold calling because I hate sales. I'm so good at it, and then I have to do it again. And then ironically, I've never been able to get out of sales. And the reason I've never been able to get out of sales is because until you're like a $30, $50 million a year business, there is nothing that is ever more important and higher leverage than selling. So I would say that when it comes to starting your own business, everyone always talks about the freedom of being your own boss. The freedom of being your own boss is directly correlated with you being the best at selling your shit, and then you never take your foot off the gas pedal. So that is, yes, that's how I would answer that.
And would you say that, how earlier you were answering to Vancher's question about, having to be a bit harsher, having to be a moron, is that something that should be integrated for someone who's starting new and wanting to get into being a business, being a CEO, like being harsh?
Being harsh, like with people, you mean?
Yeah, I just feel like because I've had experiences where I've been on the other end, where I've not been the
Mm.
CEO, but I've sensed where CEOs are much harsher, more brutal. But then I've also sensed where CEOs are much kinder and softer. So
Mhm.
I guess for you, what do you think works out the best? Like, what would be the best outcome for
Mm.
someone who wants to be a CEO and wants to make sure that their business is doing right, where
Mm.
their employees respect them and their work as well and the product?
That is a phenomenal question. That is a really good question. So when I was giving Avance the feedback of like not caring, never be a dick. I'm hopefully Kashi and a couple of people here who've worked in my team can speak to the fact that never once in my career have I ever had a bad intention or taken anger out on my employees or wanted to have an ego flex that I'm right. It's more so that don't think about it like I want to be nice or I need to be a dick CEO. It's not. It's not like this. It's more like I want to be as honest and as truthful as possible. If someone's doing amazing work, you tell them they're doing amazing work. If someone's not doing amazing work, you're honest with them and you help them get better. It's not. It's about not bending to what other people want of you. So to give you the advice as a new business owner, the feedback I would give you is less around prospects. The feedback I think you probably need a bit more is about people in your life judging what you want to do. I know a lot of us are from India here, right? My experience with my Indian friends is all your parents have really strong ideas of what you should do for your life, right? They've got like before you're
Yeah.
even born, they got your whole life mapped out for you, right? So
Yeah.
in regards to like being a dick, it's not that you want to be a dick, but if you have a vision for your own life, who cares what your parents want you to do? Who cares what
Yeah.
your siblings want you to do or your grandparents want you to do? I realize it's easier said than done, but in 20, 30 years, you'll look back and you'll be happy you made your own decisions, or you look back and there'll be some level of resentment that you let other people make decisions for how you should live your life. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, that was perfectly worded. Thank you so much, Lucky.
You're welcome.
Jeez. No, that was hella saucy, bro. Nothing really to add there. That was spot on. Kavi.
Hey Lockie, nice to meet you. I think the first time
Nice to
I
meet
saw
you.
your name was on the True Blues Discord. I think you posted a video about helping your online fitness coach go from 0 to 100K. And then
Nice.
I made a comment saying like, "Oh, did you turn Asian after 100K like the before and after?"
Yeah, I remember your comment. Thanks for the support,
Yeah,
bro. Nice to meet you.
but yeah, no, it was awesome. But one thing I wanted to ask is like literally like as soon as you started speaking, like I felt like the whole like the energy and like lighting up the room was like really, really like prominent. And I just want to know like how do you just like retain such good positive energy and just kind of like come in and just like make everyone smile and be like, hey, like what's going on?
It's these eyebrows, man. See my eyebrows? Did these bad boys this morning. Spent 2 hours on the eyebrows. They're looking on fleek. Know what I'm saying? No, I appreciate the kind words, bro. It's not my eyebrow game. I would say, well, first of all, it's hard not to be happy and positive when I've got a room full of like young, ambitious people that are just here to learn and become better. Because that
Yeah.
was me for a very long period of time at the start of my journey, but I didn't have anyone I could go to. It was just
Okay.
me in isolation by myself, watching YouTube videos and reading books. So when I get to be on the other side and get back to you guys, that's really, really energizing and exciting for me. I would say if you want to be like more charismatic or like more have more of a presence when you walk into a room, just don't need anything from anyone. If you walk into a room and you just know who you are, and I know this is easier said than done. It's a journey, especially for young people like us. You need to find yourself and become comfortable with who you really are. But I've spent a long time thinking about who I really am, what makes me weird, what makes me unique. And I'm very, very comfortable with that. So when I go into a room where I meet, beautiful new people like yourselves, I'm not like hoping to get validated by anyone here on this call. I just want to come in and be myself and have fun. And if you have
Okay.
that attitude when you go into new rooms and you meet new people, you can't lose. And when you can't lose, you don't have this weird tension where you're like reserving or you're thinking about what you're saying 3 times before you say it in case you get bad feedback. Does that kind of answer the
Yeah.
question?
Yeah, that makes sense. And talking about that, like going into a room and not expecting anything out of anyone, like for me growing up, I've always kind of had like a people pleasing tendency where it's like I kind of want to make them happy and coming from like a Sri Lankan background, want to make your parents happy and all that kind of stuff. How do you eliminate that people pleasing tendency and just kind of be like, I'm gonna do whatever I want and just have that for myself?
That's a really good question. How do you get rid of the people pleasing stuff? The first thing I'll say is it takes practice. Everything I'm going to just drop on you guys like this, it's taking me a really, really long time to practice. So don't beat yourself up if it takes you guys a long time or you're not that good at just yet. It takes time. But how would you remove the people pleasing stuff?
Because even on like sales calls and stuff, like I try my best not to give off that energy and I want to just like be better as I can. So even it applies for everything as well, along with that.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I think there's a very high correlation. You guys wouldn't know this, but when I was doing the Scale Smart team, a lot of the people who came in were young and inexperienced. And I had a few people who were still living at home and lying to their parents about going to university. And so I forced them, like for months, they were lying to their parents about going to university, right? I forced them to tell their parents that they didn't go to university and that they're lying to them. Because I said, the incongruence, obviously it was up to them. I didn't, break their arm into it, but I said, like, if you're hiding from if you're hiding from your mission about becoming the best salesperson you possibly can be, then you're not going to respect yourself as much. And you're always going to be living in this place of fear and getting caught. But if you just go and tell your parents, this is what I'm doing, put up with whatever the consequences are, then you can step up on a sales call and actually convince and lead other people to do the same thing for their life. But how can you get on a sales call and tell someone to make a bold decision to change their life if you're hiding from your parents about going to university? So I think I'll tie my advice into that how do you stop becoming a people pleaser? How can you guys expect to lead someone through adversity in their life, some of the tougher times in their life, if you're not 100% honest with them and you care more about being liked and not getting in the doghouse with them than about helping them? The reason I'm so direct and so blunt, and hopefully the guys here who have been on my team can speak to that, is because I care more about helping the people in my life win. I care more about that than hurting their feelings. I care more about that than them liking me or approving of me. And people can sense that. So just care more about helping people than you care about having to be liked by them, and you'll do a lot better.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Thank you for that.
You're very welcome. Good question.
Thank you.
100%. And just to add on to that, because I think I can speak on this as having Indian parents as well and going through the exact same thing, I tell most of you the same thing. It's much easier to just have an open, honest conversation if you know exactly what you're going to do and you say it with chest, you say it with conviction. What's the worst that can happen? I tell you guys this all the time. Worst case scenario, you get kicked out of the house. They're not going to probably kill you. They're not going to like bash you up. Like, what's the worst that can happen is to kick you out of the house. Okay, cool. I'm going to go live with my mate's friend. I'm going to go live with my relative's place, whatever it is. Like the worst case scenario is actually not that bad. So always really think of that worst case scenario perspective. That was a good question, Kavi. Priyan.
Hey, Lockie. Nice to meet you, bro.
Nice to meet you, brother.
So I just had a question, like before cold calling, did you handle rejections the same? Because I feel like for me and stuff, obviously rejection, like since I was a kid and stuff, I couldn't really handle rejections that well. And like leading on from what Kavi said, it's like people pleasing, I guess, and like worrying about what people will think. So did you have like, were you able to handle rejections well even before getting into sales, or was it after doing the cold calling and stuff as well?
That's a great question, bro. But just before I get to that, are you wearing a blazer? You got a suit on with the chain?
Not a blazer, it's just a shirt.
Oh man, you look like Chris Brown out here. You get the fashion, he's out dressing all of us. I love it. I sucked at handling rejection, man. So when I was when my family didn't have a lot of money in high school, I was like the class clown because I got bullied a lot for not having any money as a kid. So I actually had a really, really low self-esteem, and I was like the class clown to win approval from people. When I got into sales and cold calling, it changed everything for me because I realized that if I care about getting rejected, I lose the ability to influence people to change their life. Because if your goal when you get on the sales call is to tell that person what they need to hear to change their life and then holding them accountable, to actually taking that action. Let me ask you a question. Do you think it's realistic that every person you guys get on the phone with for the rest of your career or meet in real life is going to take the actions required to achieve their dreams? Fuck no. Now, let me ask you another question. Do you think the majority of people that you call on the phone and meet for the rest of your life are going to do what it takes to achieve their dreams? Fuck no. Maybe 5%, maybe 10% will actually do what it takes to achieve their dreams. So that means by default, you will be rejected 80 to 90% of the time. But is getting rejected 80 to 90% of the time worth it if you achieve everything you want for the rest of your life? Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. So you're going to get rejected by default at least 80 to 90% of the time. It's just a part of winning. And if you avoid getting rejected, and you try and win, reality is going to kick you square in the nuts. And wherever it hurts most for you females. Reality is just going to kick you straight there because you can't win without that. So you just have to accept it.
Yep. And also, just one last question. So I'm just a beginner to high ticket sales, but then so I was trying to find my first role, and then now all of a sudden I've got like landed 2 roles, and then also having a discovery call with another offer.
Mhm.
But I was gonna ask, like, in this kind of situation, because I'm really confused on what to do, because all roles are obviously different.
Mhm.
So like, it's like, which way should I go? Like, if you were in my spot, would you like sit down and think about what role would probably benefit me more and just get
Mhm.
into that? Because 2 of them are appointment setting and one is a closing role, but like I haven't really landed that yet. It's just a discovery call tomorrow that we have scheduled. So
Yeah, okay. Great question. First thing is just general advice for everyone here. Don't just try to go after only closing roles. Don't choose a closing role over a setting role just because it sounds sexier. It's really dumb. What you want to do, and specifically advice for you, is you want to pick the offer that has 2 of these things the best. The first one is some level of systems and reliable lead flow. If it's like some random online coach who has like some random sporadic Instagram DMs, probably not the best. If it's some shit ecom offer, but they are running ads and they do have 10, 15 leads a day for you to call, that's better than like the cool PT. Okay. So
yeah, I
first
think one of them, yeah. Wait, no, you can go.
no,
You
go for
go.
it. Go for it. Feel free to.
Because one of them is a property offer, and they do have like warm leads coming in or whatever. And the other one is pretty much the same as well. I think both of them have warm leads, but the closing role, it's like a fitness. I think it's called Physique Factory. It's a fitness offer, so it's like a closing. But then I need to like speak to the guy properly anyway on
Okay.
call tomorrow.
Okay, cool. Well, you know the offers better than I do, so I'm just going to give you criteria and you can make the decision.
Yeah.
The second one is training. The most important thing for all of you guys at the start of your career is training and development. Let me tell you this as clear as I can. None of you will ever, at the start of your career, walk into, most likely there's flukes, walk into a closing role on a great offer. It's not going to happen. It's like starting to playing basketball and you're just going to walk onto an NBA team and start playing in the NBA. Doesn't happen. So your goal is to get experience, get reps in the gym, make phone calls, screw things up. So whichever offer has the lead flow to do that and then has amazing training, I would pick that offer. Even if you can make the most money, but they have no training, I wouldn't pick that because you may make a little bit more money in the first few months, but long term, you're going to make way less money.
Easy, legend. Thank you. Appreciate that.
100%. Just to add on to this, because this is something that I struggle with a lot, and also a lot of you ask me. It's like when you land too many roles, great problem to have, by the way. It's like, man, I have the pick of the crop, right? Great problem to have. It means you're actually implementing a lot of the things that I say. Now, one big deciding factor for me that Lockie hasn't mentioned, or kind of has, was culture and who is actually on the team. I would always choose the team that's small, tight-knit, good training, good people, good values. They actually work one-on-one with you. I would rather be part of that team than just work with some mass scale company as a beginner offer where you're just another number in the system. And that's something that I feel like Lockyer has built that environment on Scale Smart, for example, where it's been one of the best teams that I've probably been on in my whole high ticket sales career. So I would say culture is extremely important. And some of the best friends I've had have been from the Scale Smart team as well. So culture is extremely important as well, Priyan. Good question.
Easy. Thanks, bro.
Easy. Tien.
Hi, Lockie.
So
I watched
about-
your recent video about like finding mentors and
Hmm.
all that. And I noticed that you're like a copywriter as well,
Hmm.
right? Right now I'm selling like a B2B SaaS,
Hmm.
similar to WOP,
Hmm.
right? It's called Payday. Um, and right now I don't know like any pain points of like business owners to like pitch this product to, right? And
Hmm.
obviously, as copywriters, you need to know like the pain points, this like the dream, desire, and all that stuff. I
Hmm.
don't know where to start in terms of like research for that stuff.
Hmm.
I heard ChatGPT was a good resource, but like where do you do your research when you're, I guess, onboarding a new client for your marketing agency or the coaches that you work for
Hmm.
now? Like, where do you do that?
That's a phenomenal question. Before I answer the question itself, I want to get context. Why are you trying to do this? Are you getting on sales calls and feeling like you don't know what problem you're solving? Like, why do you want to know more specific what their problems are?
Yeah, so just for context, this is a fairly new offer. So
Hmm.
like they literally onboarded the sales team like a week ago,
Hmm.
right? And they were like, hey, these are a bunch of leads to contact, like to cold call, off you
Hmm.
go. Right? So then I was like, you know what? Far out. Like, let's just figure it out as I go.
Okay,
And yeah, I'm just hopping
sorry,
on.
cut in. I just need to get to the information I need to get to. Is there
Yeah.
a validated sales process in place? Is there sales call recordings from closes?
No.
Hmm.
But
Okay.
they do have some like big clients, like they're onboarding Iman,
Mhm.
Gadzi.
Okay. Again, sorry to cut in. This is just how I function. What are you selling them? Is it a split pay thing or is it a payment process like Stripe? Like, what actually is it?
Yeah, so it's an instant comms payout for sales reps. So like instead of sending invoices back and forth, you so let's say you process everything on Stripe,
Yep.
it segregates the closes and setters commissions,
Yep.
right? That it automatically just gets sent off after 24, 48 hours.
Hmm.
And then that's that. That's like the function of
Okay,
the
so
software.
basically, it's for SaaS businesses. Their salespeople close a deal, and then as soon as the payment gets run through Stripe for a new client, the sales rep gets paid their commission. So the business owner, the benefit to them is they don't have to manage commissions on the back end.
Correct.
Get a different offer. That sucks. I'm sorry to. I can give you some advice as well. Like my honest answer, bro, is if that was a client and they came to me to grow their business, I wouldn't take them
Mm,
because, and I may be wrong. I could 100% be wrong, but the problem that solves for the business is not a super hair on fire. Assuming I've understood it correctly, is not a super hair on fire problem for the business owner. Like, yes, it's important. Yes, it is a problem, but put yourself in a business owner's shoes. And of course, they're reaching out because for some reason that is a problem. But I've managed commissions for a team of like 15 to 20 sales reps. It sucks. But if someone came to me and said, hey, I'll take this off your plate, but every sales rep is going to be instantly paid out cash, and there won't be any delay to the invoicing. I'm not sure how much I would prioritize buying that product. It's not a super. I think that you would be better served, bro, finding an offer that solves a bigger problem for people because your sales skill and your performance on this offer, in my opinion, is going to be heavily capped simply by the desirability of the offer itself. So imagine if you're a phenomenal salesperson, but you're selling business owners on putting ads in a newspaper. How successful do you think that you're going to be? You can be the best
mm.
salesperson, but by the nature of the offer itself, your career will be limited. Now, flip it. Let's say that you're a terrible salesperson, but you're selling cups of water to people who have been stranded in a desert. How successful is your career going to be? Very successful. So I'm sorry to shit on you. I know you've just gotten on this offer and you want to be as optimistic as you can, but my advice would be to find an offer that is better and more desirable because I wouldn't even take that business on as a client. If you're going to stay there in the meantime and you're trying to find a better understanding of why this person would want to, how do they generate leads?
Right now it's just cold email.
How many salespeople have they hired? Have they got like what have they proven here?
Well, the amount of salespeople, there's two account executives, so me and someone else, and
Mhm.
there's a outbound setter manager that's building out the outbound team.
And is there an existing successful company in place, or have they just launched this? Is this literally like they're seeing if it's going to work?
Like they've already got pretty big clients like
Okay.
Samuel Anuha, um, Iman Gadzhi,
Okay.
Luke Alexander,
Okay. Well, that's a good sign.
um, Justin Waller,
Yep.
the
Okay.
guy,
Okay. That's a good
yeah,
sign. I
and
may be
like other,
misunderstanding the product then if they have clients like that.
yeah, and then other like other names as well,
But they have
not
no
just
sales
limited.
call recordings of successful deals.
No. I
Hmm.
asked for them, and then they were like, oh, we'll send them through, and then I was like, okay, but I haven't received any.
Okay. Well, if you do receive them, what I would do, and I'd do this if I was any of you guys, I'd take all of the best closers call recordings. I'd get the transcript from Fathom. I'd put them into ChatGPT and ask ChatGPT to write out all of the most common problems and pain points ranked by frequency. That will give you immediately an understanding of the problems and the pain points to speak through. If you don't have that, just have to speak to the customers, man. There's no magic there. Just have to get on the phone and ask them what their problems are, and you just have to do that as many times as you can.
Yeah, cool. Makes sense.
Easy.
These. I actually I had a question for you, Lockie, because I
Mhm.
see this a lot in this industry, and I'd love to get your viewpoint on it.
Mhm.
If let's say someone was stuck at around 4 to 5K a month in commissions and trying to hit that 10K or 15K a month goal, how do you go from like 5 to 10K a month in, I guess, the simplest way possible, but also like what's the best way? And that could be either through landing a new offer or it could be staying on the offer that you're on. But I'd love to get like your viewpoint on how to go from 5 to 10K a month as a sales rep.
Okay, perfect. Your screen's frozen. You're like the opposite of a ventriloquist right now. The mouth isn't moving, but your voice is coming out. So what's the easiest way to go from 5K a month to 10K a month in commissions? Well, the technical answer would be sell twice as much. That would be the obvious one. If the answer wasn't that, the first thing I'd say is you have to validate, is anyone else in your company actually doing 10K a month? Now, if you're a closer and you're on a fast growing team, it may not mean that you can't. Like, for example, when Fonz was on the offer before you joined Closing Cash, he had the limiting belief that he'd like maxed out our offer. You came in, smoked him in the first month, and he had like a bit of a reality wake up call. Like, oh, fuck, I just needed to be better. So that's a possibility. But I'd say first thing I'd look at is someone on your offer or are you doing 10K a month? If they are, how? What are they doing? And I just copy them. And the easiest way to copy them is ask them. And unless that person's a real dick, they'll happily tell you. Most successful people are pretty open about their feedback. Buy them a coffee, shout them a lunch or something, and just ask them, like, I want to get to 10K, you're there. What would you do if you were me? That would be the best way. Is either no one on your offer is doing it because everyone sucks, be the best, or because the offer sucks, get a new offer, or someone is and just learn how to do that. Definitely 10K a month, though, is a closing role. We had some setters make 10K a month, but you have to really, really crush setting to make 10K a month. So I'd say you have to be in a 10K a month closing position. But my advice with that is your goal shouldn't to be a 10K a month closer. 10K a month as a closer sucks. Like if I had a closer who was making just 10K a month, 100% I'm going to fire that closer. 100,000%. A good closer is making at least $20,000 every month flat stick. So you want to be in setting long enough that you've really mastered setting so that when you move into closing, you become a 20K a month closer. You don't want to rush getting into closing just so you can become a 10K a month closer, because then you're going to lack skills to then become a 20K a month closer. Does that answer the question, bro?
Yeah, 100%. That's actually very similar to my take because I think to go from 5 to 10K a month, the biggest mistake I see is people go from setting to straight away closing and then down to setting, which is not a bad thing. Again, everything happens for a reason. You learn from it, but we just save that whole trajectory by sticking to one thing, hopping on a better setting offer, mastering your sales tonality, mastering your energy, or hopping on a very, very beginner closing role and do it for reps before finding those offers that maybe 10, 15, 20, 30K a month. That would buy it comes from business owning yourself, right? You'd fire someone at 10K a month.
Well said.
Issue.
Hey, Lucky, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Ish.
My question actually links pretty well with what you were just talking about in terms of like setting and closing. I actually had a conversation with someone just before this call that's been like in the high ticket space for a few years, and they're basically saying that they saw the setter role become more and more replaced with like AI DM setters. And basically, I guess I'm wondering, like, in the long term, is setting like even a high ROI skill? I guess it would help you with closing eventually, right? But is it something that's not going to be like solid, like a solid skill, like a few years down the line?
Great question. Phenomenal question. Nice to meet you. Great salespeople will never be replaced. Whether it's closing, whether it's setting, whether it's cold calling, whether it's in person, great salespeople would never be replaced. If you can learn one skill that is protected by AI, it's sales above any other skill on the planet, because people don't want to be sold by an AI robot, especially for good offers, because good offers are typically charging a high price point and they're typically in a competitive industry. So if you have a customer who has many options of who they can spend their large amount of money with, do you think they're going to choose the company that forwards them through to an AI robot? Would you choose that company if you're the customer? No. So I wouldn't be worrying about AI at all. We're sweet. You guys are going to be fine. Any businesses that decide to outsource this setting with an AI robot, they're either massive, like Google, Stripe, Slack, Canva, because they don't want to have a 3,000 person setting team, or they're total fucking morons and you wouldn't want to work for that piece of shit business anyway. Like if there is a high ticket, fitness offer and the dude's like, oh yeah, I'm outsourcing my setting team to some AI robot, that dude sucks. And unless he's got a ridiculously strong personal brand, I guarantee you his closers are going to be bitching and complaining about all of the unqualified piece of shit leads that are getting booked in on the calendar. And you don't want to be around to see that anyway. Having a good setting team was easily the most valuable asset that I built in Scale Smart, even more so than the closing team, because the level at which I could scale my closing team was directly limited by how good my setting team was. I had people join Scale Smart who were previously on closing roles, good closing roles, and join becoming setters because they knew the skill they would learn with me setting was better than anything they could learn on any closing offer. So starting as a setter is a phenomenal position, and I would not be worried at all about being outsourced by AI.
Okay, cool. I have one other question.
Sure.
I guess like now there's like so much like sales content, and you see like people being like, I don't know, you just see a lot of sales reels, and I think something that I get on my like feed a lot is like the feminine way to sell, or like this is how you like use your feminine energy to sell. But basically, what are your thoughts on that? And is there really a difference between selling as a male and female? And is there any advantages that you could use as a female to sell?
That's a really good question. I love this question. So my sister, I coached her on sales, and she built a company in a roll-up company. So essentially, she would go and raise money, and she would buy laser skin clinics. They were doing from like 1 to 3 million a year, like in-person locations. She puts them together and she sells them. And she had to deal with so many arrogant, dickhead, middle-aged, rich white guys who would talk down to her just because she was a female entrepreneur, right? So I'm very familiar with this. I would say the first thing, if you're a woman in the sales space, because it's very heavily dominated by men, especially if you're on a sales team with a lot of men selling a product to men, the first thing is you need to realize, and I say all of this with love, that you want to stop classifying yourself kind of as like a lot of women have like, oh, I'm a woman entrepreneur. No, you're just an entrepreneur and you are a woman. A lot of women, they box themselves into this like, I'm a girl boss. I'm a woman sales rep because of the Shelby sales rep thing. No one gives a shit that you're a woman. The only thing anyone gives a shit about is how well can you help me solve my problems. That's all they care about. And if you think and focus on the fact that you're a woman, you're going to bring attention to the fact that you have some insecurity around being a woman in a men-dominated field, and you take the attention away from you being able to help the prospect solve their problems. So that's the first thing from a mindset switch. In terms of practical differences, I'd say as a woman, generally speaking, especially if you're selling to men, and it's a business oriented. Are you on an offer so I can help tailor this advice to what you're doing right now?
Yeah.
Okay, what do you sell?
I'm on a real estate marketing offer, so I sell leads to real estate agents.
Okay, dope. So if you're speaking and how old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm 22.
Okay, amazing. Do you sell over the phone or via Zoom?
Right now, I'm mainly selling, so over the phone.
Okay, so if you're a 22-year-old woman selling leads to a 35-year-old male in real estate, just by default from how your voice sounds, you lack authority and frame, okay? It's not a sexist thing, it's just the way that people work. Yeah. So the way to get around that is you have to be really, really smart and confident with the questions that you ask. So if you have a 22-year-old female sales rep who, for example, let's say the real estate agent gets leads, but he complains about the size of the residential homes that he's getting. All the leads that they get, they're from cheaper houses selling from, $500,000 to $750,000. This is how I did it because I was 18 or 19 when I started my agency, and I was selling multi-million-dollar dentists and people who owned 30 lawyer practices. How did I do that at 19? Because I still got discredited. I wasn't a woman, but I still got discredited because of my age. I did it because I could understand and articulate their problems better than they could. And when you can do that, they will presume you can then solve them. So for example, let's say they're complaining about unqualified lead flow. I would say, that's really interesting, John. Well, can I share a perspective with you from my experience and the clients I've worked with? Typically, the reason that you're getting low value residential deals come through is because the postcodes in which you get the most attention are lower socioeconomic postcodes. So what I've seen really successful for my clients is we actually focus on the postcodes that are higher socioeconomic status homes. Now, you may get fewer of those. However, the lead quality will be much higher. Does that make sense? Have you ever tried anything like that? That's how you switch their focus from, oh, geez, this person's a bit young, to, wow, this person knows what they're talking about. So first thing, forget that you're a woman. No one cares. People only care about the fact you can help them solve their problems. Number two is focus on becoming more educated and more articulate on the customer's problems and solutions than they are even themselves. Then when you say that with confidence, people will respect you because their conviction that you can solve their problem will go up. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah, that's really good. And I guess, how do you, like the thing that you said just now about the residential homes, is that just through experience that you come across these kind of like facts and this kind of stuff that they wouldn't know? Or I don't know, how do you put yourself in a place to know these things that they wouldn't?
Great question. Three things. First one's time. That sucks. Just takes time. I've been doing this 10 years. The second one is asking good questions. If someone rejects you on a phone call and they're not keen, just say, cool, totally get it. I'm not going to ask you to buy anything else, but I am new in my career here at the company. I'd just love to ask you for some feedback. What is it about our offer that makes you not want to say yes right now? Am I actually even solving a problem for you? What is a problem that if I could help you solve, you would actually want to pay money for? So you ask good questions. And then number three is you learn from those questions. So then the next phone call you get on, you implement the feedback that you got from that first one. So time, ask lots of smart questions, and then implement feedback from the answers you get from those questions, and you'll get much smarter.
That's really good. I really like that, like asking them questions when they've said no, because then you're like at least still getting value from them if you don't like set or close them. But yeah, thank you so much. That was really helpful.
Totally. No problem. Kashi, you gonna pick someone? You're not here. I can't see your face. I can see your hand.
I've just turned my camera off, bro. Maybe you can hear me better now. Most
Yeah.
likely. That was a great question, Ishi. I agree with Lockie. It's like to wrap it up in one sentence, it actually doesn't really matter if you're a girl, if you're a guy. I think it doesn't really matter the way you sell. It is more like you were just a salesperson, and that's what's more important is focusing on the skill set that you have. Because I've seen girls sell way better than me. I've seen guys sell way better than girls, and there's practically no difference. It's more about just being a good sales rep at the end of the day. Good stuff.
Yeah,
Good
one
luck.
thing to add to that, sorry, before we move to the next question, one more practical tip for women. This is a really fun one. By default, men don't want to be as rude to you or as harsh to you. So they may not tell you the truth as much. If you're just bad, if your product sucks, if they're skeptical and don't believe you, they will sugarcoat it more. As a woman, you can call out the bullshit a little bit more directly with a guy than another guy can. Because if a guy calls another guy out on his bullshit, it can be a little bit like this sometimes. Whereas if a woman does it to a guy, it's less like this. It's more like, ah, shit, she got me. So I would just be aware of if you think a guy or a woman, it doesn't matter, is giving you an objection or not buying, but they're not being fully honest, I would just be like, hey, John, I've got thick skin. You can tell me if you hate the product. You can tell me if I'm way off and you haven't believed a single word that I've said. Shoot me straight. Why don't you want to buy this? I can handle it. I promise. Not going to cry. And you can just joke around a little bit to get them to be honest with you so you can actually handle the real objection.
Right. Okay. That's good too. I never thought of that. Thanks.
No problem.
Good stuff. Gunkar.
How's it going, boss?
Nice to meet
Bro,
you.
I used to see your YouTube ads all the time. Used to drive me nuts, bro. Bro, every time I was trying to eat, put on YouTube. Oh my days, bro. Crazy. But bro, I had a question. What's like a mistake you see most sales reps make that you think kind of limits or caps their growth?
Geez, this is going to be a really long call if I list out the mistakes. Let me try and pick one that I don't think you guys have probably heard very often. One of the biggest things is the lack of professionalism. So we're in an industry surrounded by a bunch of people who have no level of professionalness. Okay, when I refer to professionalism, you want to treat the fact that you're a sales rep just like if you were a superstar athlete on a international sports team. Okay, so as a sales rep, the first thing is your calendar is golden because that's your time, that's your real estate of what you can produce. So you need to have everything scheduled into your calendar and not fuck around with your time. Let me see if I can get my calendar up just to show you guys what this looks like. Like you need to have everything in your calendar. Let me get my calendar up. Alrighty, can I share my screen here, Kashi? Send request. I'm sending a share request. Multiple.
Yep, you should be able to do it, bro.
Okay, dope. So this is my calendar. Do I follow it to a T? Rarely, but I do have everything in my calendar. So I know, for example, I'll walk you through a day. So let's say tomorrow's Friday. I wake up at 5 a.m. and my first work block is 3 hours and I build from 5 to 8. From 8 to 10, I'm in the gym doing weights and cardio. I get home, I shower, I eat. That work prep is 30 minutes. I'm then back into work for 3 hours from 10:30 to 1:30. I take another break for 30 minutes. Then I get into content creation, another work block for 3 hours. I then go for a sunset run or a walk. Then I come just to break my day up. Then I come back, work for another 3 hours. Then I mark my day and I plan tomorrow. I read and unwind for 30 minutes. Then I sleep from 10 p.m. to 5 p.m. Do I follow this at all times? No. As you can see right now, I'm not following that. However, I do have the intention of where my time is going. So that's treating my day like a professional. I'm self-employed. I have no one telling me to do this. I could fuck off for the entire day and do whatever I want. But I take my time seriously. I'm a professional. For your more practical for you guys, show up to your sales team meetings 10 minutes early. I mean, I'm sure that some of the guys here can attest to this. Man, if I had people show up to sales team meetings and they didn't have a call ready to review, I would fucking annihilate them. Not because I'm a dick or I get any pleasure out of that, because I want to reality check them. Because if I don't reality check them that their standards are too low for their professionalism, life will. And life will take a lot longer and it's going to be a lot harsher than me giving them the feedback. So you show up to sales team meetings on time, 10 minutes early in case Zoom fucks up, your laptop's charged, your headphones are working. Make sure you're on time. Bring questions, bring call reviews. If you don't ask any questions on a sales team meeting, it was a passive sales team meeting. You weren't actively working. That's why I love it so much you guys are asking questions here, because it's very active. Doing your end of day reports, doing your admin, doing your own individual call reviews, even if your manager doesn't ask you. The reason I excelled at all of the workplaces that I got a job at after I stopped becoming a drug addict was because my standard for my own performance and professionalism was significantly higher than the standard everyone else had on the team. So I always rose to the top of the company, and then always I inevitably became too qualified to even work for that business. I had to go and find a better business to work for. So what does everyone make the mistake of? Professionalism is a very big thing.
Yeah, cool. I had one more question.
Go for it.
I think that makes a lot of sense as well. It's kind of like a similar one, but kind of phrased in a little bit of a different way. I guess for you, like, if you were managing a sales team and you had a bunch of sales reps, right? Like, what sort of one trait that makes a sales rep stand out in front of everybody else?
This is a lot of things. It's a very, very good question, brother. Great question. And the answer is exactly that. It's questions, asking questions. If I had to select one thing, if I had all of you in this room and I was to spend an hour with each of you and I had to predict who would be the most successful in 10 years, I'd be able to do it pretty accurately. And my number one deciding factor would be who asked the most questions and who asked the smartest questions. So if I, and it's immediate, when I hire a new sales rep in their onboarding phase, the ones who ask the most questions, I immediately know that they're going to win. The ones who don't ask any questions, I'm just like, all right, well, this guy, he either has it all figured out, which they never do, or he's going to be a pain in the ass to train because he will never learn unless I tell him something.
Yep. Unseen source, bro. Cheers.
You're welcome. Great questions.
Jeez. Good stuff. Lockie, I know we are at time. It's at the hour. I know your time is super valuable. So
I'm happy to keep going, bro. I'm happy to run this as long as you can. As long as you guys want to sit here and ask questions, I'm happy to help out for as long as I can.
Yeah, for sure. We'll run through a couple more questions for sure, bro. But I know your time is super valuable. So if everyone can write down like one question that is really, really important to them, that'll be really amazing. And we'll wrap up as soon as possible. I just had a really important question though that I'd love to ask, bro. You see this a lot in this industry from when you started in sales, cold calling, and the online space to now. Obviously, the space has changed a lot. And one of the biggest that I noticed, I'd love to know your perspective, is people are getting more and more shiny object syndrome. It is a very, very common syndrome that I'm seeing, like in this space where start one thing, they go to the other, they go to the next. And I've suffered from this personally. And I know you told me you've suffered at times from this personally as well. So I'd love to know, like, what is your take on that, on how to actually handle shiny object syndrome? Because that's a problem that a lot of young guys face and girls.
So many ways I can answer this. And I know you're trying to rush through this. We're still here because I ramble on questions for ages. So I really am happy to take as long as we need. Let me. Can I draw a whiteboard here?
Oh.
You go, bang, new whiteboard. Ha! I miss this. Yeah. I miss the whiteboard sessions. Okay, there's two different ways I can answer this. I'm going to answer it this way first. And if everyone can not draw dicks and write their initials and shit on the page, I would highly appreciate that so we can stay focused. Okay. This is a chart, okay? And let's say this dotted line at the top of the chart equals competence, okay? And this is where you make money. So C is for competence and the dollar sign is for money. And down here, you're at 0% skill. So this is going to be skill. I'm going to write it like a psychopath. There you go. And I'm going to talk about shiny object syndrome, okay? So let's say that you're selling, and I'm going to use this bar over here. This is S for sales, okay? Now, when you're over here and you've been selling for 2 months, okay, and you're at 70% skill level, you can make no money, okay? You can be making shit money because you have to get good enough at the skills to get to that competence line. And so what a lot of people do is they'll say, oh, there's no money in this. and they go and do the next thing. They may start their own agency. I'm just going to put A here for agency. Then they do the same thing. They get to 40%, they get frustrated. When they don't realize you have to get to 100% competence to actually start making any money. And the reason they quit is because of what I call the transition curve. So this is the transition curve. I'm actually going to make a video on this soon because it's really valuable. And there are a few phases on the transition curve. So when you first heard about high ticket sales, you're like, holy shit, man, it's going to be so easy. Make 10K a month, work from anywhere in the world. Oh, this is going to be a breeze. And so you're over here at the first stage, which is uninformed optimism. UO stands for uninformed optimism. So you've got all this optimism about how easy it's going to be. But then what happens is when you get into it, you start to realize it's a lot harder. So this curve here represents your emotions. So you're like, oh, this is going to be so easy. And then you start getting told to F off. You get hung up on. You join a shit offer. There's no leads. And then you start to realize, oh, hey, this is actually not as good as I thought it was going to be. And you get to informed pessimism. So IP, and you start to realize, oh, hey, this actually isn't as good as I thought. But you keep persisting because you're like, my buddy showed me a screenshot. He's making 10K a month. I'm sure it's going to get better, right? So then you get down to here at the bottom here. This is when you're at fucking rock bottom. This is called crisis of meaning, COS. This is the point where stuff sucks and it's been bad for so long. You start to question, why am I even doing this? Why is this even worth it? If anyone here has ever like dieted really hard, this is kind of where you get to the point where like, oh, geez, I'm dieting hard. I'm looking better, but it's not even worth it because I hate my life and I'm hungry all the time. So this is crisis of meaning. This is when you want to quit. And now 99% of people, they quit. And this is crash and burn. They go down here and they crash and burn. And what this looks like for shiny object is you simply decide to start something new. And guess what happens when you start something new? You start with uninformed optimism. Again, right? It's this graph over here. It's just uninformed optimism to uninformed optimism. However, even when you're at crisis of meaning, you push through, you get to the happy land, which is informed optimism. So now you're getting some results, you're seeing some success, and now you actually have some education and some experience and some skills, you're getting results, and now you're optimistic because you know it's going to work. This is like when you make your first bag in high ticket sales and you're like, holy shit, mom and dad, fuck you. I told you I didn't have to become a doctor. That sucks. I'm over here closing deals, living my best life in Bali. I'm going to make it. Right? So you need to understand this concept so that you realize whenever you get that shiny object feeling, you're just going to go and start back at the beginning of the learning curve and go through all the bullshit again. And you will never experience any level of real success until you've developed the characteristic of being someone who can push through for a sustained long period of time to become good enough at the skill to hit that 100% barrier and actually make some money and be successful. Does that make sense? Wonderful.
100%.
100%. That was really saucy, bro. Reminds me of some of the calls we had over at ScaleSmart, bro. That was definitely really good. And I think for sure, I think that growth helps people zoom out because when you're young, and this is something that I got from Lockie and a lot of the mentors that I've been with, is when you're young, 5-10 years seems like a whole lot of time because it is. It's like 25 or 50% of your lifetime. So it makes a lot of sense as to why people can't zoom out. So I appreciate it, bro. That was a great graph.
No problem.
Falak.
Hey, Lockie, it's great to meet you.
Hi, nice to meet you.
My question is, what belief system did you have to unlearn to be where you are right now?
Ooh, what belief system do I have to unlearn? I'm going to try and be quick with the questions because some of you guys have been waiting and I don't want you guys to get missed. What belief system did I have to unlearn to become successful? Well, for me specifically, this is a very personal one. I got bullied a lot when I didn't have any money. So when I got into sales and I had to become comfortable with asking people for money, that was really hard for me because I had this incorrect belief that if I ask someone for money, it means that I am not good enough. And so I had to detach myself and understand that when I ask someone for money, it's because I know the product that I'm selling is worth that money. And it has nothing to do with me, who I am, or my experiences. And that was very difficult.
That's actually good. I just have another quick question. If you were starting over today as a beginner in high ticket sales, what mindset would you focus on before building, like, learning scripts or tactics?
I would take a moment to take all the pressure off myself from having to be good and having to make money and having to be successful, and be grateful and appreciative that I'm about to embark on a journey that is learning the most number one influential and helpful skill you could possibly ever learn that will improve the quality of your life and everyone around you for the rest of your life. And you're going to screw it up, and it's not that big of a deal.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Good questions.
Ease. Good stuff. Ruben.
Hey, Loki. First of all, very nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, bro.
Nice to meet you. My question's kind of based around identity. So, just for context, I'm very new to this space as well. And for me, my question is based like, do you act the same way when you're in a sales environment as you would be with your family? Is that two separate kind of things, or is it okay to have two separate identities, or would you kind of merge them into one? I hope that makes sense.
Makes perfect sense. They will start as two separate identities simply because it will be too uncomfortable for you to be 100% a salesperson in front of your mom when she's telling you to become a dentist. So it will start as a shameful little side life. But as you start to embody it and validate it, it will slowly become one. And you will slowly grow out of the identity that you currently have, which is formed predominantly based on what everyone else around you wants, not what you want. But as you start to prioritize what you want and you start to validate that and believe in it more, you'll slowly give the life that other people, or the identity that other people want for you, less oxygen. So it will eventually choke to death.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ease. Good question, bro. I'm sure a lot of you relate to that. So use that source for sure. Pravesh.
Yeah, so first of all, Loki, great to see you. And hell yeah, bro, your story was inspiring, like how you went from cold calling in your room to actually just where you are right now. So it was super inspiring.
Thank you, brother.
So yeah, you actually basically came from trenches, right? So my question is like, you might have got some setbacks as well, right?
Definitely. Yeah, just
So yeah, how did you kind of like deal with those, if that makes sense?
How did I deal with setbacks?
Yeah.
The only way you fail is if you quit. And so if you're scared of failing, just don't quit, because that's the only way that you can fail. Setbacks suck. And I can tell you guys that the more important the setback, the more important the lesson, the more money you will make from that lesson, the more painful it is. All the lessons that change your life, they're the most painful ones. So in the moment, it's going to be painful, but as long as you don't quit, you won't lose. You won't fail. I can tell you it's going to take a lot longer than you think to be successful, but it will be worth it. So when you run into those hard times, just realize it's not the first. It's definitely not going to be the last. And just try not to quit.
Okay, perfect. One real quick question. Like, obviously, like once you get the setbacks and stuff, there are going to be people who are going to be super negative around you, right? If that makes sense. So how do you kind of ignore that thing, you know?
What I do with those people is I'll get like thumbtacks, like those little pins, and I would like sneak them into their meals. So I've got a hater and they're doing meal prep or something. I just like sneak a thumbtack into the porridge in the morning, But if that didn't work, if they're thumbtack proof, how do I deal with haters? Is that the question?
Yeah.
You're always going to get haters, man. People are going to hate on you if you do nothing, and people are going to hate on you if you do something. So I've just always known that if I let the direction of my life and what I achieve be influenced by people who don't want the best for me and haven't got what I want, then I'll never get what I want. So Only listen to the opinions of people who, number one, have bigger dreams for your life than you do, and number two, have what you want. Everyone else's opinion, it's just irrelevant feedback. You can listen to it, but let it be water off a duck's back because it won't help you, and they're not qualified to give it to you anyway.
Okay. Cool.
Especially your parents. Your parents are usually the worst people to take feedback from.
Yeah, because it's like for me, like, yeah, my parents are like, that kind of people, like typical like Indian kind of parents. So like how do you like deal with them? Like, of course I can't just say anything to them, right?
Yeah, I would just smile, thank them for the feedback, and then do what you want. I wouldn't be spending hours trying to convince them of your life. They're never going to listen to you, man. Like, you're probably going to be successful making 30K a month, and they're still going to think you should be a fucking dentist because it's safer, right?
Okay.
Just smile, listen to their feedback, thank them for their opinion, and then don't say anything and do whatever the fuck you want to do.
Yeah. All right. Perfect. Thank you so much, bro. Appreciate you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, good stuff. That's something that I can definitely relate to for sure. Shivani.
Shravani, is that how I pronounce it?
Go on.
Yeah, that's right. Sorry, didn't hear that one.
Nice to meet you, Shravani. How can I help?
Yeah, look, I had two questions. The first one was related to business. You often hear a lot of talk around certain industries being quite saturated. And when people do want to start new businesses, like around our age, that's kind of the biggest setback they get initially. So what's your kind of take on that? And obviously, when you do scale businesses in a existingly saturated industry, what kind of differentiates them?
So, sorry, you broke up a little bit. The first question was a lot of businesses for new people trying to start a business, it's saturated. So how do you get around that? Was that the question, sorry?
Yeah, so a lot of people think that certain industries are already quite saturated.
Yep.
And that's the kind of initial setback. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, this is a really common objection. Saturated industries are the best because that's where everyone's making money. That's where money has been proven to be made. And so when you're starting your first business, you want to go after saturated industries because there's proven that there's a very high demand from customers to spend money there. Then your only problem is you're just not good enough at the business to get any business. So then you can solve that. A huge mistake beginners make is they don't want to go into a saturated industry. But if you're a beginner, like, who do you think you are? You think you're just going to randomly come up with $1 million business idea in an industry that the millions of extremely intelligent and successful and well-funded entrepreneurs haven't thought of yet? No, you're just intimidated by competition because you suck. And you're going to suck in the new industry anyway. So it makes sense that you just pick an industry that you know people are already spending money in. Then you can focus on getting good. Because if you suck, you don't want to pick an industry, you don't want to risk picking an industry that no one's spending any money in.
Yeah, that's super interesting. It's a complete different perspective that I've been used to hearing. I had a really quick one. It was quite similar to one that was previously asked, but just a little more specific. I'm quite new to the space. I've only started like my first offer a few weeks ago. So sort of in like the trenches of cold calling. So it's quite resonating when you were telling your story, that part there. Knowing what you know now and given the experience that you do have, what is something you'd do differently or things you would do the same? What kind of goals and deadlines? Like how would you kind of recreate the same thing?
Is this specific to cold calling? Like how would I do like a better job or change the way I do cold calling?
Yeah, cold calling or in general, like when you're starting in sales.
I'll give you some cold calling specific advice that can relate to everyone. In my sales teams and to myself, I always have the catchphrase input equals output. Because when you're making sales calls, you're on the phone, you're cold calling, your brain is always concentrated on the output, which is, did I close the deal? Did I set the appointment? Did I get a yes? But the output only ever happens when you do a very large amount of input. So if your mind's focused on the output, you get bad outputs, then you limit the input, which limits even more bad outputs. So especially when you're cold calling more than anything else, all you need to do is focus on the inputs, which is taking the actions. So when I was cold calling, one of the reasons I was so successful was because all of my goals were oriented around the amount of dials I did. I never oriented any of my goals around the amount of sales or cash I collected. I just knew that if I hit my input targets consistently, the outputs will happen. And so I got phased a lot less by rejections because I'd be like, oh, dude, I'm at 30 dials. I have to hit 50 by lunch. I have to hit 50 by lunch. But everyone around me was so deflated because they weren't closing deals.
Yeah, no, that makes super sense. I've caught myself being the first one getting deflated after like, 20 dials. I'm like, oh my God, let me take a break. And then the momentum kind of holds up. But yeah, thank you so much. Both of them were super helpful.
You're welcome.
I think me personally, I've used that quote of input equals output like multiple times, either telling myself or telling you guys. And a really easy analogy to explain this with it's like going to the gym, and most people on this call go to the gym on like a weekly basis, daily basis. Gym is like a part of your life. And when you go to the gym, most of the time, the part where you make progress isn't when you go every single day and you're like, I'm going to gain 0.5 kilograms today. And tomorrow I'm going to gain 0.7 kilograms muscle mass. That's probably not what you're thinking. What you're probably thinking is I'm going to do 10 kilograms of five reps. And then I'm going to go up to like 12 kilograms tomorrow. And then I'm going to go up to 14 kilograms tomorrow. Then I'm just going to keep doing this for the next 3 months, next 12 months. And you know what? I might not gain 20 kilograms, but I know I'll make progress. And that's actually where you end up making the most amount of progress. And it's the exact same thing in something like online business. So good stuff. TJ.
Yeah, Lockie. Well, pleasure to meet, first of all. Like, I always see you on YouTube, and it's unreal speaking to you on Zoom. So amazing. But what I really wanted to ask was your opinion on with sales and like just life in general. It's easy to get competent at that skill, right? Like you're probably you're out of survival mode. You're making probably like 5, 10K a month. And in majority of countries, that's pretty good, right? That's top like 1% of the income. However, there's a big gap between competency and mastery, right? And that gap is sort of like, I'm obviously still trying to like bridge it. So for you, what's like the one either key actionable thing or the one belief you'd have to continuously bridge that gap and ultimately become a master at it? Aside from time, of course, because that's obviously going to take its place.
Of course.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say I've mastered anything just yet. I think I'm very, very competent at sales and marketing. I don't think a master ever truly feels like they've mastered something because the more you learn something, there's a phrase for it. I can't remember what it is, but the more you learn something, the more you realize you don't know, right? Yeah. But what's a thing to do that? Obviously, time. I think it is having a very, very high standard for the fundamentals. So, I love Michael Jordan. I studied Michael Jordan a lot. And whenever Michael Jordan talks about why he's better than other people, he talks about why he's better than them because he's mastered the fundamentals more. Like he can dribble with his left hand better than most people can dribble with their right hand. Now, that's not some crazy fancy thing, but it's because he's practiced the fundamentals so many times. So specifically for sales, if you want to go from good to great, you have to master the fundamentals, really boring things that are very easily to overlook. So for example, this is a really simple one. Do you accurately identify the customer's problem on every single sales call before you pitch them? I can tell you because I've trained and listened to a lot of fucking sales calls. Very often that does not happen. Even for great reps, they don't accurately diagnose the specific problem that prospect is facing before they ever talk about the product. Do you do that on every sales call? Masters do. They stress those simple fundamentals.
Amazing. No, that was genuine source. Appreciate it, man.
You're welcome.
Cool. Source for sure. Alan, what's up, bro?
Hey, Lockie, nice to meet you, bro.
Nice to meet you, brother.
I just had a quick question. So, like in the sales industry, I found success pretty quick, right? And the only thing is that I kind of struggle with is I feel as though I'm not competent enough, right? And I'm on a team with, a lot of people that have like 6 times my experience, and like I just constantly feel as though like I'm not competent enough, and I just wanted to ask you, like, how would I overcome that? Like, I know the simple answer is just becoming competent in sales, but like it's like a constant comparison of it. So I was just wondering, like, is that something you felt, obviously being 19, doing an agency yourself, talking to other people and knowing other people in the industry as well?
Great question, phenomenal question. For anyone who couldn't hear because of the internet stuff, he asked, when you're feeling incompetent, how do you get over that? If you're on a team with people who are more experienced, the first thing is that's a blessing. If you're on a sales team with people with a lot more experience than you should be really grateful for that because that's quite rare and you can learn a lot from those guys. The second thing is you will, if you're an ambitious person, let me tell you this already, you will never outgrow the comparison, the feeling of not being confident through comparison, because that's why you guys are here in the first place. The only reason any of you guys got into high ticket sales is because you saw someone who had a better life than you. You got envious and you thought, damn, how are they doing that? I want to do that for myself because they make me feel behind. And so you discovered high ticket sales. That's how you got into this. Then you're going to get good at setting and you're going to be envious of the closers who are making more money than you. Okay, then you become a closer. Then you get envious of the really good closers who are making more money than you. Then you become a really good closer. Then you become envious of the sales managers or the business owners who are doing better than you. It never stops. So I wouldn't worry about trying to get over the self-comparison thing. I would accept it as being a part of being an ambitious person, but I would just try to change the meaning of it. Instead of beating yourself up, I would just let it, I try to let it inspire you. Because I compare myself to people that are better than me every day, but I no longer beat myself up about it. I use it to inspire myself that if someone else like that can do it, I can do it too.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I appreciate that answer as well. Also, a quick question on what TJ said. Sorry about that, but you mentioned, can you hear me? Yeah, you mentioned like learning the basics is very important, and that's how you like differentiate yourself to becoming really good, right? So in terms of like that example you gave it of identifying the prospect's problem, like how would you get so good so every single time you can identify that pain point? Is it just by like reviewing calls, or is there like a
it's time, a lot of time, a lot of reps, and consistency with reviewing calls. So when you have a full day of sales, at the end of the day, make sure you review the one call you thought was the most challenging and try to clearly identify at what point, or what moment in the call did you actually identify the prospect's number one problem. And when you pitched, did you pitch to actually solve that problem? Or were you just generally presenting the product? So it's just consistency and doing your due diligence to ask good questions and pay attention.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much, bro.
No problem.
I agree, Alan. That's pretty good advice for you, bro, based on your situation and how quickly you found success. I'd definitely go implement that. Good stuff. Tian.
Hello once again. The question that I have is that I noticed that successful people have a high level of self-awareness, right? And especially around like what you said before on the whiteboard around like starting a new thing. Obviously, you went from working in cold calling and then working for a marketing agency and then starting up your own agency, right? So how do you develop that self-awareness to where you can jump from one thing to the next so that you can actually progress in your career?
So like, how do you be more self-aware?
Yeah, I guess like that's the overarching question. But then like how do you know when to jump from one thing to the next thing to the next thing so that you can gain more leverage and overall progress into your career?
That's a really good question. How do you know when that is? I think you have to just be really smart. I definitely don't think you should rush that if you knew. So because I'm just trying to think about how I would think about that myself. Like if I was on an offer, for example, if I was going to leave an offer, I would know really good, like I'd know really well why I'm leaving the offer. So for example, I was going to leave an offer and go to a new offer, right? Why would I do that? It would be because I haven't got enough lead quantity to hit the projections I want to hit for my income. If it's not lead quantity and there's enough leads, then it moves to lead quality. Okay, I have enough leads, but the lead quality isn't good enough. What is the founder and the team doing to optimize that and improve that? Is it making progress? If I don't think that they can solve that problem, then I have the lead volume, but I don't have lead quantity, then I would move to a new company, and my criteria would be specifically around, can they hit this number of leads with this specific quality for me to hit my KPIs? So you can see how I'm breaking down the problem in a granular level. So I know what the constraint is in my current position. I have vetted, do I think the business or myself can solve that constraint? And only when I think that there's evidence that the constraint can't be solved, do I move to a new business. Because any business or any offer for you guys, all of them have problems. Every single offer, every single company or business model or type is going to have problems. So you have to be successful, you just have to be good enough at solving the constraints. The only time you should move to something new rather than solving the constraint is if you think that putting the time and energy into solve the constraint isn't worth the payoff, or you can't. Like if you're a sales rep and you can't change the marketing, then you should leave because you have no control over the constraint of the business. So you're just going to suffer. It's a bit of a complicated question, but does that kind of answer it?
Yeah, a little bit. The reason why I ask is that oftentimes I see in the sales space, high ticket sales space, is that everyone's going to coaching, and some of these people I know have only cracked like 10K months,
Mm-hmm.
right? And like a constraint that I guess they have is skill set,
Mm-hmm.
obviously, because like if they were more skillful, they would be, at a high commission level,
Mm-hmm.
right? So like, how do you know when you're competent enough in high ticket sales to, move into management or, move into coaching or, even start up your own business?
Well, the short answer is you just have to be good enough to coach your customers to get the result they want. That's like the short answer. So it's like if you're a closer and you hit 10K in a month, you're technically good enough to train someone who's not in remote sales to land their first remote sales job as a setter and might make 5K and maybe get to 10K. So like you're technically qualified. I personally wouldn't give too much of a shit about what other people think I'm qualified to teach. I just teach what I want to teach and what I know how I could actually get someone a result. So if you want to teach something and you can get that person a result to the level that you're promising to teach them, then you're qualified and you can do it and you can go and do it. There's not too much more to it than that. Yeah, there is a lot of people in the high ticket sales space teaching coaching who aren't the best. But as long as they can get their customers the result that they promise, I think it's okay.
Makes sense.
100%. Just to add on to that, I think what's super important, going back to what you said way before about like at the start, when you know is also like by who you surround yourself with and actually the reason and intention as to why you want to go into the new thing. That's very, very important. So how I kind of realize that, hey, I want to go to this thing, I want to go to the next level, I want to go to this offer, I want to go to there, is speaking to people that already have what I want, like Lockie said. And the first thing that I guarantee they'll ask you is, hey, Kashi, why do you actually want to go there? Like, what is your intention behind wanting to go there? What do you want to achieve? And if it's anything along the lines of, not that there's anything wrong with these things, but if this is genuinely not what you believe, for things like fame, things like I just want to make quick cash money, I just want to make X, Y, like so all these little young hustler things, I can list them off. I'm just, again, not that they're negative, but most likely those dreams don't last. You would know that, hey, I want to go to this level because I want to develop my skill set, or I want to develop my experience, or I want to develop my qualifications. All those like input type goals are going to get you way further in life, like Lockie said. So I would say that's another easy way to do it, is surround yourself with better people and literally ask them. And I guarantee you they'll say that as well, because that's what happened to me.
Agreed.
Peace. Alan.
Yeah, just one more quick question because Bao reminded me, Lucky. So I was just wondering, so on this offer that I want, I still have like a lot of room for growth. I'm nowhere near my capabilities, right? But there is two constant problems on the offer, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that is show rate, and that is also lead quality. Everyone on the offer complains about it.
Mm-hmm.
I personally don't really care because it just helps me out even more, right, with my own systems. But if they couldn't fix that for the last 8 months, right? What would you do in my position, like as a sales rep?
Good question. The first thing is I wouldn't care too much about what people complain about. A sales reps will complain about everything forever. The leads can always be more qualified. Show rate can always be better. Calendars are always patchy. there's always going to be complaints. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. I would just look at the data. So I would look at what is your goal income, realistic. Like if you want to earn 400% more than you're currently earning, you probably shouldn't base the stats on that yet. I'd look at how much do you want to make? What leads do you need to hit? What show rate do you need to hit? And is the current numbers significantly below that? I'd look at the data. So for example, do you know what your data is? Are you closing or setting?
I'm closing.
Okay. So how many book calls do you usually get per day? Like bookings,
10.
not shows, but bookings.
Oh, like new bookings or just calls?
Just bookings in the calendar.
Yeah, 10.
Okay, cool. And so how many usually show up?
Around 3 per day.
Okay, so you've got a 30% show rate. That's pretty bad. Do you know why 7 don't show up?
I'm not 100% sure. There are a lot of reschedules, so I'd say around 3 people do reschedule per day. 2 people unresponsive around there, and then not many cancel. It's more just no shows and reschedules.
Okay, so I can tell by watching you the cogs moving. This is one of the first times you've put a lot of thought towards that. So, for example, what you shouldn't do, this goes back to my answer just before the bow. Yeah. What you shouldn't do is be like, this offer sucks, it's a low show rate, I'm going to ditch the offer. Because you're going to go to another offer, and I promise you they're going to have problems as well. So instead, what you want to think about is, okay, I'm getting 10 bookings, only 3 show up. The other 7 people didn't book in just for the fuck of it. People don't accidentally book in sales calls. So why are those 7 people not showing? Let me ask the founder. Let me speak with the marketing team. Let me message all of them. Let me call all of them. Let me ask them why they didn't show up. Let me look at the reasons they're canceling in Calendly. And I would try to identify why they're not showing so you can then implement solutions. Now, the only time I would then leave because of that is if you identify solutions and the company or the founder won't let you input them or try them out, fuck that offer. Go somewhere else that is excited to solve problems. But until you do that, you need to take that problem as your problem. It's not the offer's fault. It's not the company's fault. You don't get anything out of having that mindset. It's your fault because you don't know. And if you don't know and then you leave, I promise you, you're going to join a new team and they're going to have an issue. You're not going to know how to solve it because you didn't try. Then you're going to move to a new team. You're going to offer hop like so many people in this industry. So try and find out why that 7 don't show up. Come up with a solution, implement it, and then see how it goes.
Yeah, and then like even if they don't like respond, you just do the volume and try to get like a massive data set and then look at that, right?
Yeah, and I would look at the marketing and I would look at the ads, I look at the funnel, look at the pre-call sequences, look at the VSL. I'd ask why are they not showing up. Granted, having anything higher than a 60 to 70% show rate in the space is pretty unheard of, right? So let's pretend the goal is 60%. That means there's an extra 3 people per day that you can get to show up. And my first goal would be why. And you should just use some common sense. Look at the ad, look at the funnel, look at the pre-call process. Ask why are these people not showing up? Are they highly skeptical? That could be a big one. Are they allowed to book in a phone call way too easily? And we need to add more qualifications before people even book in a call. Are the setters really bad at their job? And a setter can set them, but they did a 5-minute set call. And the set quality created more skepticism than if no one had even spoken to them. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it makes sense. Thank you.
No problem.
Saucy question, bro. I think it all comes back down to like having that founder mindset. And at the end of the day, Alan, that's a skill set that you'll need for yourself, bro, when eventually you do go and launch your own business because you will be a business owner. So it's the great part about high ticket sales is you actually get to practice that skill set with obviously not 0 consequences, but a lot less consequences than someone that's an actual business owner. So good stuff.
Well said.
Last question, TJ.
So I've just onboarded onto an offer and I kind of got thrown off when someone told me the leads on this offer are pretty cold, right? But like when I look at the stats and the data, there's a team collecting plenty of cash on that offer. They're obviously very skilled and the standards are very high. So that's a team I want to be a part of. But I had another guy reach out to me telling him the leads are all warm from an organic funnel, but they're not getting a lot of leads and it's a very new offer and all like that. What's your opinion on like where my beliefs are should be and stuff like this is a very warm offer and he describes it like it's laydown, but it sounds too good to be true in a manner.
Just to clarify the question, you're on an offer right now that you've just joined, but one of the guys is saying the leads are really cold. Then you've got someone else trying to get you on a new offer, and they're saying the leads are really, the leads are warm, and you're not sure what to do?
Correct. Exactly.
That's a really good question, man. And this advice goes to everyone here. Like, people talk so much about the way that they think things are. But how many people do you know that are really successful and actually have the life that you want? Usually pretty few. So that means that there's a lot of noise coming from people who don't want what you have. So if someone says to me that the leads are cold on an offer, I don't care. As long as there's someone on the offer making the money that I want to make, I'll just be good enough to make that money. If someone's telling me, like, and just like, if you're on an offer, if there's someone telling a new sales rep the leads are pretty cold, that dude sucks. Even if he's right, he just fucking sucks. I'd make a mental note to not be friends with that guy, because that's a pretty shit mindset to be giving to a new teammate who is coming on board to try and achieve their dreams. Or he's right, and you'll find out that the leads suck. But if people are making money, don't worry about whatever the fuck that guy says. Sounds like he quits. He sounds like a quitter to me.
That's exactly was my thought process, because I was like, if the team is making around collecting 700K a month, the leads cannot be that bad.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. So yeah.
Yeah, they're just a shit sales rep. And you're gonna have people in your ear telling you that there's warm leads over on this new offer for the rest of your career. Don't fall into the trap of that. Try to be as good as you can. If they're making 700K a month on that offer, it's a good enough offer. Become the best person on that sales team. Then you can worry about other offers with warmer leads.
Perfect. No, appreciate that, Lockie.
No problem.
100%.
Appreciate all the questions, guys.
Couldn't have been said better. I know that I personally took a lot of things away myself, some new, some reaffirmed beliefs as well from this call. And I'm sure Lockie, like nearly pretty much every single person on this call at least took away one major thing that they're going to go and implement. And I'm glad it's recorded as well, so they can go back and watch it. But I wanted to say, bro, thank you so much for putting your time here, because I know it's like extremely valuable, and I really wanted to share like the amount of coaching and mentorship you've done for me, like with the whole community, because I know I got so much from it. So thank you so much, G.
Dude, no problem at all. I just want to say a massive thank you for you guys for giving me a couple of hours of your time to be able to come in here and drop some sauce. Last thing I'll leave you guys with is I remember when I first started in sales, I didn't really have many mentors to guide me, and I was doing it by myself. And so I can very much remember the feeling of being questioning yourself, like always doubting yourself. Am I doing the right thing? Am I on the right offer? Am I trying hard enough? Am I saying the right things? Am I going to get fired? Am I going to be successful? And that can become really, really exhausting. And so I just want you guys, if I can leave you guys with anything, it's just to take some pressure off yourself, because I can tell you, it doesn't matter what level of success that you guys achieve. You're always going to have those little doubts. You're always going to have those little whispers that you're not good enough or you're doing something wrong. And if you give too much attention or too much volume to that doubt, you're not going to enjoy the experience that you're going to go through now. Let me tell you that learning sales and becoming good at sales from never having been in it is the biggest gift that you could ever give yourself. This experience, this learning journey that you guys are going through, it's a really fucking tough one. It can be a very unforgiving one at many times. But you will look back in 1 or 2 or 3 years and you will reminisce about, oh man, I remember when I was making those cold calls or those setting calls and I was getting told to F off. I was so anxious. My voice was shaking. I said the wrong name on the call. The guy called me out for it. Like, you will look back and reminisce on these times. So try not to take it too seriously right now. Try and cut yourself some slack, have some fun, and enjoy the fact that you're going to look back on this and reminisce and miss these moments.
100%. Let's leave it on that, bro. Let's cook up next week, Tuesday, lads and girls. And yeah, enjoy the rest of your night, bro, and enjoy your weekend, Rocky.
Easy. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you so much, Rocky. Thanks, Kashi.